Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna continue the series What If Naruto Became the God of Sealing Part 4. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Slowly, the group could see the front gate to Konoha. This made Naruto smile, but it also made him feel sad. After being away from the village for a while, he got used to seeing friendly people outside of the villages, but he was still glad to see Hinata again. When Naruto turned around, he saw Jiraiya and Tsunade talking about the good old days while Shizune just smiled and listened. Naruto yelled, "Hey, guys, is it okay if I go on ahead?" This got the three of them to look at him. Jiraiya waved to his student, Naruto, and watched him run as if he were being chased by wild animals. Jiraiya rubbed the top of his head as he watched Naruto stop at the gate and say, "If only I had his energy." Naruto made his way to his favorite ramen shop after he got past the guards. But just as he was about to get there, he saw something that caught his eye. Hinata and Tenten were both walking when they saw Naruto. Hinata ran up to Naruto and gave him a hug and a kiss on the cheek, saying, "Naruto, you're back." Naruto said with a smile, "Yeah, I just got back. How about you all come with me? I'm going to get some ramen," Naruto said. The two girls nodded and followed him into the ramen shop. "So, Tenten, you wanted me to look at a weapon seal," he said. Tenten's eyes popped open with excitement. "Here you go," Tenten said as they sat down at the booth and gave Naruto the seal. Tenten saw Naruto's eyes get narrow as he took out a bottle of ink and a brush and started to work on the seal. Hinata smiled at Naruto as she gave Tuchai the ramen order that Naruto, Tenten, and herself had asked for. Naruto finally took his eyes off the tag after about a minute and set his brush down. Naruto asked, "Are the weapons already sealed inside?" and saw Tenten nod her head. "Okay, let's see if this works," Naruto said. He slapped the seal on the ground and used chakra. Suddenly, about 3 feet away from Naruto, a small circle appeared and a sword shot out of it. "That will work," Naruto said with a smile as he gave the seal to Tenten, who took it with a big smile. "Thank you, Naruto," Tenten said. Then he turned around and started eating while Naruto drew a quick sketch of the seal for later use. Naruto looked at Hinata just as she shoved his noodles-covered chopsticks into his mouth. Hinata said sternly, "Stop working and eat." But Naruto could see that her cheeks were red. "Oh, I'll start eating after this," Naruto said. He then kissed Hinata, which made her blush even more, but a cough behind them made them turn around. When Naruto turned around, he saw Hayashi and Neji standing behind the two of them. Naruto smiled and said, "Hello, Hayashi-sama." "Hello, Uzumaki. I'm sorry to ruin your evening, but Hinata needs to go back to the compound for more training." Hinata and Naruto looked a little sad, but they didn't say anything. Hinata kissed Naruto on the cheek one last time and then followed her father as he walked away. Naruto smiled and turned back to his food to finish it. But as soon as he was done, an ANBU showed up behind him. "Uzumaki-san, you need to go to the council room right away," the ANBU said with a small tilt of his head as Naruto paid for his food and turned to follow him. Tsunade yelled, "We can't do that," as she tried to get the council to stop what they had planned. "Tsunade, if Naruto keeps going on missions like these, we might lose one of the strongest Konoha shinobi," Koharu said as Hamura and Danzo nodded their heads. The door opened, and Naruto walked in. Then, with a bored look on his face, he popped his neck and fingers. "Okay, so what do you people want now?" Naruto's tone and lack of respect made the council flinch. "You will treat us with the respect we deserve, brat," Danzo told Naruto. Naruto looked back at Danzo. Naruto turned to Tsunade and asked, "So what is it this time?" Tsunade just shook her head. "They want to keep you in the village," they said. Naruto groaned and shook his head. Naruto looked at the council and said, "I thought I already said this, I don't need your protection." They all looked into the boy's blue eyes and saw his anger and pain. "I'm not going to be a part of this," Naruto said. He turned to leave again, but Danzo stopped him by hitting the ground with his cane. Danzo said, "You will sit down and listen to what we have to say." His words left no room for guessing. "We're trying to help." Naruto looked up at the Warhawk, who seemed angry. "The last time I checked, I needed help when I wasn't a ninja. But you guys didn't want to help then, so I'll say it again, I don't need you to mess with my life." Naruto turned on his heel and was about to leave when he remembered something. "Oh, how are Rock Lee, Kakashi, and Sasuke holding Tsunade up?" Naruto asked. When he turned around, Tsunade was smiling at him. "They're fine, and you can go see them if you want, but I still need to hear from Rock Lee about whether or not he wants surgery." This confused Naruto, so he went to the hospital to ask Lee. "If I don't get the Kyuubi under control, Konoha will lose its strongest weapon, Danzo thought as he gripped his cane and growled lowly. Danzo turned and started to leave the room, but Tsunade watched the old warhawk carefully. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya and said, "I think we need to keep a close eye on Danzo." Jiraiya nodded. When Naruto got to the hospital, he asked a nurse where Rock Lee's room was. After looking at Naruto for a second, the nurse told him where the room was. Naruto was walking toward Lee's room when he heard a voice coming from the door. Guy, Lee's sensei, was talking, and Naruto could tell by the tone of his voice that it was serious. But before Naruto could turn away, he heard one sentence that made him feel cold. Lee said, "The surgery could kill me," but he didn't sound very excited about it. Guy sighed on the other side, and Naruto heard it. "Tsunade told me about the risks," Guy said. Naruto could tell from Guy's voice that he was a little sad. "She said you won't be strong enough to survive the treatment, but you want to know what I said, Lee?" Lee just shook his head and waited for his sensei to tell him. "I told her she was wrong. I told her you had the strength to live through anything. You told me your dream was to be a great ninja who only used taijutsu. Well, Lee, you can still make your dream come true. I believe you can survive this treatment and that it will make you stronger." Lee looked like he wasn't sure about it. "Do you really mean it, Guy-sensei?" Lee's question seemed to surprise Guy, but he quickly got over it and smiled at his student. Naruto smiled as he walked away, but he was still worried about Lee, even though he had a good feeling that he was in good hands. Naruto went to Kakashi and Sasuke's room, but when he got there, Sasuke wasn't there and Kakashi was reading a book on the bed. "Kakashi-sensei, what happened to Sasuke?" Naruto asked. Kakashi looked at him and then went back to his book. Kakashi turned a page in his book and said, "He asked the nurse to let him go outside and get some fresh air. I think he said something about the roof," Kakashi said. But Naruto had already left the room before Kakashi could say anything else. Kakashi closed his book and got out of bed. "Maybe I should come along. Sasuke has been acting very strangely toward Naruto lately." When Naruto opened the door to the roof, he saw Sasuke staring at something across the village. The way Sasuke said, "You know they've been talking about you," made Naruto nervous, but he still approached his teammate with more care. "They've been talking about how I lost to you," Sasuke said. This time, he turned around, and Naruto saw pure hatred in his eyes. Naruto asked Sasuke, in a confused voice, "And to make matters worse, my brother is after you," Sasuke said as he stood up and walked toward Naruto with deadly intent. "He shouldn't be after you. He should be after me. What makes you so special? Tell me." Naruto could see that Sasuke was getting closer to attacking. "Sasuke, you need to calm down." Suddenly, Naruto felt the need to duck, and he was lucky that he listened to his instincts. As he glared at Naruto, Sasuke flew over his head with his Chidori fully charged. Naruto looked at the Sasuke he was talking to and saw it disappear in a puff of smoke. "What were you doing?" Naruto asked. Sasuke laughed as Naruto dropped into a fighting stance. Sasuke looked at Naruto with his Sharingan spinning wildly and said, "I wasn't going to kill you yet. I just want to know what makes you go," Sasuke said. He charged again, but this time Naruto was ready. Naruto dove under Sasuke's arm, spun around, and kicked Sasuke's legs out from under him. Sasuke knew he was falling, but just before he hit the ground, he reached out his arm and spun away from Naruto. Sasuke got back on his feet and charged his Chidori again, but Naruto had already started to charge his Rasengan. When Sasuke looked at the sphere of chakra, he closed his eyes. Naruto just shook his head when he asked, "What is that?" "Sasuke, I'll only say this once, back down." Naruto's words left Sasuke speechless. "I don't want you to get hurt." Sasuke began to laugh. "You could never hurt a Uchiha," Sasuke said, and Naruto shook his head as he ran full speed toward his teammate. Kakashi suddenly got to the roof, but when he got there, he saw that Naruto and Sasuke were already fighting with their jutsu. "Damn, I'm already too late," Kakashi said. He tried to get there, but the two of them collided, causing air pressure to start building up and forcing Kakashi to stay put. Kakashi looked up and was shocked to see that Naruto was being pushed back. Kakashi opened his Sharingan and could see that Naruto was slowly taking away chakra from the Rasengan. "What is he doing?" Sasuke asked with a smirk as he pushed with all his strength, making a loud screech. Suddenly, Naruto threw the arm holding the Rasengan up, forcing Sasuke to follow it. Sasuke looked down at Naruto and tried to put his Chidori on his head, but Naruto grabbed his wrist and then his throat. Sasuke was about to fight back, but Naruto jumped back quickly. "What did you figure out that I can't do?" Sasuke started to say, but his Sharingan and Chidori suddenly stopped working. Sasuke tried over and over to get his jutsu and Sharingan to work again, but he couldn't. What in the hell did you do to me? Naruto said to Sasuke, I put a chakra seal on you. Sasuke looked down and saw black marks all over his arms. When I grabbed your neck, I put it on you. Now I just want to talk to you. Sasuke yelled in anger, why should I listen to you? Because I won't break the seal until you do. Sasuke growled angrily at Naruto. What's wrong with you, Sasuke? We're teammates and friends, but you've been acting like a jerk lately. Why? Sasuke just shook his head and smiled in a strange way. You want to know why? He said. Naruto nodded. Naruto just shook his head and used a hand sign to release Sasuke from the seal. Naruto said with worry in his voice, I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you this, Sasuke. If you don't get off the path you're on, you're going to die. Sasuke just smirked and walked over to the edge of the building before jumping off. Naruto looked at Kakashi, whose smile told him that he was going to talk to Sasuke. Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke, which Naruto watched. Sasuke, please stop doing whatever you're doing, Naruto said, then turned and walked down the stairs with a worried look in his eyes. As Naruto went down the stairs, he heard a voice that sounded familiar. Where is Sasuke? Naruto asked as he turned the corner and saw Sakura. Naruto smiled and said, Hey, Sakura. When Sakura turned around and saw Naruto, she smiled and ran over to him. Sakura asked Naruto, Hey, Naruto, have you seen Sasuke? But Naruto's face said it all. Yes, but you might want to stay away from him for now, Naruto said. This made Sakura confused. Sakura just watched as Naruto shook his head and asked, Why? What happened? Naruto looked at Sakura with sad eyes and said, I don't know, but he's been acting very strangely lately. I just think it would be safer if you left him alone for a little while. Kakashi is already on his way to talk to him. Sakura watched as Naruto walked past her with sadness in every step. Sakura worriedly asked herself, what happened to those two? Naruto kept walking down the hall until he came across Jiraiya. Hey, Naruto, your visit is over, Jiraiya said as she watched Naruto turn away with sad eyes. Naruto, what's going on? Naruto looked up at his master and said, Sasuke is getting more and more hostile toward me. He's almost killed me twice now, and I think he's going to do something he'll regret if he keeps this up. Jiraiya's eyes seemed to focus on something from the past, but as soon as they did, it was gone. I think Naruto is. But it's okay. If anyone can talk some sense into Sasuke, it's Kakashi, Naruto said as he walked by his teacher and smiled. Jiraiya just stood there and looked worried. Jiraiya said, I hope you're right, kid, and then he disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Sasuke was leaning against a tree and thinking about what Kakashi had said when he felt someone behind him. Sasuke jumped down from the tree, turned around, and saw 4 people looking at him. It's amazing that you were able to tell we were there. What do you want? Sasuke asked as his Sharingan began to work. Oh, you're such an angry person, aren't you? Asked the one with purple hair. First, let's meet each other. My name is Yukon, and these are Teuya, Kidomaru, and Jirobo. The people he pointed to didn't move, but the man named Kidomaru smiled at Sasuke. Are you sure Orochimaru-sama wants this weak-kneed punk? Teuya asked, making Jirobo flinch. I told you not to swear like that. Teuya glared at Jirobo, but Jirobo just stared back. Sakin looked at Sasuke and said, Orochimaru-sama was told to bring him back to Otagakure with us. Orochimaru-sama wants to make you stronger than you could ever be in this dump, Yukon said. The word stronger caught Sasuke's attention right away. He wants to teach you everything he knows and give you power beyond your wildest dreams. All he wants from you is to swear your loyalty to him. Sasuke looked at the ground for a few seconds before he looked up at Yukon. You talk about power like you already have it, Sasuke said. The others nodded. Then show me your power, and if I like it, I'll go to Otagakure, he said. The group nodded, and Sakin threw his head in one direction, signaling a change of scene. With a smile on his face, Sasuke went after the 4. Sasuke laughed as he thought, if I'm right, I'll have enough power to finally crush my brother and Naruto into dust. He continued to follow the group into the darkness. When Naruto was walking to his apartment, he saw Hinata waiting for him outside. Hinata, what are you doing here? Naruto asked as she smiled at him and held out a small bag. Hinata blushed when Naruto smiled at her and said, we never did finish our meal. Father said we could finish, but I have to be back in 30 minutes. Naruto nodded, took Hinata's hand, and led her to the small pond just a minute from his apartment. The 2 people sat down, ate their food, and watched the moon shine on the water as they did so. Hinata said, Naruto, it's so quiet here, as she snuggled up to Naruto's arm, making the blonde smile. I know Hinata, Naruto told Hinata as he put his head on hers. The two stayed like that until they realized it was getting late. Naruto took her home, where he found Hayashi waiting for Hinata on the porch. Hayashi said with a little humor in his voice, "Hello, Uzumaki, you were cutting it a little close." Naruto shrugged his shoulders and said, "It's what I do. Hayashi-sama, I guess I'll see you tomorrow, Hinata," Naruto said. Hinata nodded and kissed Naruto quickly before running into the compound. Naruto said, "Good night, Hayashi-sama," and Hayashi returned the bow with a small one. "You too," Hayashi said. Then he turned around and went through the doorway. Sasuke was out of breath and lying on the ground. Sasuke said, "What power?" He couldn't believe what he had just seen. Saken said as his curse mark faded, "All this power could be yours, Sasuke. All you have to do is join us. Now what do you say?" Sasuke looked up at him and smiled. "Where do I sign up?" Sasuke stood up and watched as the rest of the group got down on their knees, while Saken smiled at him. "Now we begin," Saken said. He smiled when he saw how easy it was to get Sasuke. "Orochimaru-sama will be very happy," they said, but they didn't know that a small figure was watching them from the shadows. It was there for a moment, and then it was gone. Sasuke turned around and looked at him with narrowed eyes. "I'll be right back," Sasuke said, and then he was gone, leaving the others behind. "I have to tell the Hokage," Sakura started, but stopped when Sasuke stood in front of her. Sasuke asked without showing any emotion, "What do you think you're doing?" "You've got to stop, Sasuke," Sakura pleaded. "Listen, Sakura, you can't tell the Hokage I'm leaving," Sasuke said. Then he disappeared and reappeared behind her. "At least not yet." All of a sudden, Sakura passed out and fell forward. But Sasuke was there to catch her. "Soon, Naruto, we'll fight again, and then I'll get even stronger. But first I have to kill you," Sasuke said as he put Sakura down on the bench and started to laugh. Then Sasuke went away, leaving behind some leaves that moved in the wind. As soon as Sakura woke up, she ran to the Hokage's office to tell her what had happened to Sasuke. When Sakura told Tsunade, she acted right away, but when she realized she didn't have any more Jonin to spare, she cursed. Tsunade went to Shizune and told her to bring Shikamaru in. She said, "I guess I'll have to go with another group." Shikamaru came right away when he was called and was wearing his new Chunin vest. Shikamaru yawned to show that Shizune was the one who woke him up from his nap. Tsunade said with force, "I don't have time for this," which made Shikamaru look at her strangely. "Sasuke has gone to Otagakure, and we need a team to go after him and get him back. I don't have any extra Jonin, so Shikamaru, you need to find 4 people you know can handle this mission." Shikamaru nodded and turned around a little faster. Shizune looked at Tsunade, who had just let out a sigh. Tsunade raised an eyebrow at Shizune and asked, "Why didn't you also call Naruto?" "I thought you promoted him to Chunin," she said. Tsunade laughed as she looked out the window and saw something funny. He said no. Shizune was shocked to hear. He said that if he got the promotion, he would have to spend more time away from Hinata, and he wanted to spend a little more time with her. He also said he didn't think he deserved it, and that his fight with Sasuke during the Chunin exams made him feel that way. Shizune nodded and kept watching her mentor. Naruto was walking with Hinata hand in hand, smiling as brightly as the sun. Someone called Naruto's name just as the two were about to walk into the ramen shop. Naruto turned around and saw Kiba, Choji, Neji, and Shikamaru. Shikamaru said, "I need you for a mission, Naruto." He said this in a strong voice. His voice was scary enough to make Naruto worry. Hinata was worried as Naruto turned around and asked, "What happened?" Naruto's eyes widened when he heard, "Sasuke has left the village and is on his way to Otagakure." Before he could say anything, he heard someone breathing loudly. When he went to find out what was going on, he saw Sakura looking at him with tears in her eyes. "Naruto, I tried," Naruto said as he looked at his teammate with his eyes down. "I found Sasuke talking to these 4 people, and then I heard that he was going to leave with them. I tried to get to the Hokage to tell her, but Sasuke found out I was spying on him and knocked me out. I'm sorry." Naruto put a comforting hand on Sakura's shoulder, which startled her. "Don't worry, Sakura. I'll find Sasuke and bring him back." Sakura looked at Naruto, but instead of seeing relief, he saw worry. "What is it, Sakura?" "Before I blacked out completely, I heard Sasuke say that he knew you would come and that when you did, he was going to kill you," Sakura said. Naruto looked at her with confused eyes, but Sakura went on. "All I'm saying is that you should try to get him back, but be careful." Naruto said with a smile, "Don't worry, I'm always careful." Naruto turned around and looked at Hinata. Hinata smiled back. "I'm sorry, but I..." Hinata put an end to Naruto's talk with a kiss that made them both blush a lot. Naruto smiled and gave her one last kiss. Agreed, Naruto said, and he turned to face the others. Okay, let's go, the group said, and they started running toward the gate. Fu was knocked down, but she quickly spun around and landed on the ground. What are their names? Hidden said as he held onto his prayer necklace. Why do we have to catch this skank? Because it's an order, and it could bring in more money. Kakuzu said as he turned to face their newest member. What about you, Senji? Senji just watched as Fu started making hand signs. Fu said, I don't care as long as I get to beat the Uzumaki to a pulp. I don't think so, little runt, said Senji as he ran toward Fu at a speed that no normal old man could match. Fu was caught off guard, but before she could do anything, she got hit in the stomach. Fu was thrown backwards and hit a boulder, which broke apart when she hit it. Hidden yelled, what are you doing with her? She is my gift to Jashin, as he held his scythe in front of him. You're taking too long. If you're not going to finish the fight, I will. Senji didn't even turn around as red chakra suddenly started pouring out of the ground. Senji muttered, damn, when he saw the dust disappear and Fu in her demonic cloak. Fu looked at the three members of Akatsuki, then spread the wings on her back and took off. Kakuzu said to Hidden, and this is what happens when you take your time with Jinchuriki, and Hidden glared at his partner. Great, this will be bad. Senji looked at Fu with a gleam in his eyes that made everyone worry. He said, what are you talking about? Things just got interesting. Show me your power, little Jinchuriki, he said. Ishiki and his brother Denpa were putting on their cloaks at the same time. So, we're going to give this scroll to the Hokage. Onanami said, nodding his head as he watched the two shrug their shoulders. Onanami stopped the brothers in their tracks by saying, one more thing. Kakuheki is going to come with you. Ishiki watched as his brother tried to persuade Onanami that this was a bad idea. You said it yourself, he can't move, Ishiki said. Before Onanami could say anything, they all heard Kakuheki walking towards them. I'm fine, he said. Other than being tired, Kakuheki looked like a normal person. Let's just go get this kid before I fall asleep again, Onanami said to Kakuheki with a smile. Ishiki and Denpa just looked at each other with worry. Onanami just waved the group off as they headed toward Konoha and said, yes, you should run now before he gets too tired. When Onanami saw that the group was out of sight, his eyes got more serious. Please be careful, because Konoha won't give up Naruto so easily, Onanami said, then turned around and went back into the cabin. After one day, Senji walked down the dark hallway and threw Fu at the wall, making it break. Senji was mostly fine, but he had a deep cut on his chest that took a long time to heal. Pain said in a slightly angry tone, be careful, we still need her to live. Senji just looked up at him with black eyes that were cruel. You think having the Rinnegan makes you God just because you have it? Senji laughed at the thought. But the truth is, if you can bleed, you're not a god. You're just a sad man trying to escape your humanity, Senji said. Everyone looked at him in shock. When they looked back up at Pain, they could see how angry he was. Give me one reason why I shouldn't show you what a god I am, Senji said with a smile. Pain took a step forward, but Senji stood his ground. Because I still know things about Naruto and the people who are going to recruit him. When Pain stopped in his tracks, Senji's smile got even bigger. And just so you know I'll keep my end of the deal, I'll tell you about these three people. Two of them are brothers named Ishiki and Denpa. They are both good at different things, but when they work together you won't have a chance. Ishiki is good at tracking and gathering information through genjutsu by breaking his opponent's mind. Denpa is good at kenjutsu and ninjutsu. Pains I knew them when I was an Achida in Uzashigakure. When they were together, they were annoying. The other was Kakuheki, a boy I captured and locked up to try to copy his special ability. But I just heard that Ishiki and Denpa were able to set him free. Pain asked, who is in charge of this plan to get Naruto back? He wanted to kill the person in charge before they could get Naruto. I don't know, but I can tell you one thing, Senji said. The firelight made Senji's eyes look demonic. Whoever it is, you're a strong son of a whore, Senji said. He turned around to leave, but Tobai smiled and waved him goodbye. Senji made a small wave with his hand, but he was really thinking about something. Senji's smile turned into a sneer, and he started to laugh deep down. I need to figure out what they want, and then I can kill them one by one and take control of all this power. Senji walked until he got outside. When he turned around, he saw a faint glow, and for the first time, he had sad eyes. When Senji turned around, a picture fell out of his cloak. He said, I'm sorry, little girl, but your death will bring me closer to my goal. 5 people were standing around the Gyufukage when Senji looked down. As soon as Senji saw that Uzashio was smiling, his eyes got very hard. Senji picked up the picture and glared at Uzashio as he said, you could have stopped what happened, Uzashio. Because of you, I had to choose this path, but I will always keep this picture with me. That way, I can remember what I did to make sure I stay on my path. Senji put the picture back in his pocket and started to walk. Madara sat in the meeting room and waited patiently until he heard the door open. When he turned around, Pain and Conan were both looking at him. Madara watched as Pain and Conan looked at each other and then back at him and said, "Well, what do you think of him?" Pain looked at Madara as he leaned against the wall and said, "He's good for Akatsuki, but he's hiding something. We need to keep a close eye on him until we know what," Madara said. Madara said, "All right, see you next time." In a few seconds, he went back to his world, leaving Pain and Conan alone. Pain had a faraway look in his eyes when Conan looked at him. But before Conan could ask, Pain turned on his heel and left the room. Naruto stopped on top of a statue of Hashirama Senju's head and yelled, "Sasuke! Sasuke, stop running!" The statue on the other side of the waterfall stopped Sasuke. Sasuke's voice had a hint of confusion in it when he asked, "Running? Why would I run away from you? I just wanted to find the best place to bury you." When Sasuke turned around, Naruto saw that his left eye was a different color and that half of his face was covered in black marks. Naruto couldn't believe what he was seeing when his teammates smiled at him. "What are you looking at, Naruto?" Naruto shook his head and gave Sasuke a narrow look. "What happened to you?" Sasuke asked, looking down at his hands. "Power," was Sasuke's response. Sasuke watched as Naruto glared at him and said, "Power is what happened to me." "Sasuke, I'll only ask you once," Naruto said. Then he took out 2 scrolls and made 2 copies of himself. "Come back to Konoha, or I'll break every bone in your body and drag you back," Sasuke said to Naruto. He looked at him for a few more seconds before laughing out loud. "That's a great laugh, Naruto," Sasuke said as the curse mark on Naruto's face started to fade. "Don't you see how much power I have?" He shook his head and let out a sigh. Naruto threw the 2 scrolls at the clones and said, "I guess I'll just have to break you." The clones unraveled the scrolls. Naruto bit both of his thumbs and smeared blood on both scrolls just as his clones put them on the ground. He said, "I'll have to thank Tenten later for this idea." In an attempt to stop Naruto's jutsu, Sasuke narrowed his eyes and jumped at him. Fuinjutsu, Hakachiken Naruto slammed both palms on the scrolls. Sasuke heard a cracking sound, and when he looked down, he saw 4 different swords coming out of the ground and heading straight for him. Sasuke yelled shit as the blades got closer. At the last second, he grabbed one of the blades and used it to push himself out of harm's way. Naruto watched as Sasuke fell from the statue and landed in the water. Naruto gave his clones a nod, and they all ran after Sasuke. Sasuke fell into the water and turned around with a tiger seal in his hand. Sasuke took a breath and shot a fireball at Naruto, but Naruto took out 2 of his fire tags and fired them at the fireball. Behind Naruto and his copies, Sasuke suddenly showed up. Naruto said, "SHT, he used the fireball as a distraction," as he turned around to avoid a kick to the head. However, his 2 clones were kicked and sent flying until they turned into smoke. Sasuke punched Naruto in the face just as he looked up. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he saw Sasuke's Sharingan spinning wildly inside his eyes. "Damn, he got a lot stronger since the last time we fought. I have to be careful what I do because of those eyes and his new power." Sasuke turned around, jumped up on the statue, and smiled at Naruto as he looked down at him. Sasuke looked like he was about to jump for joy as he said, "This is great. All this power is just flowing through me. Soon, I'll get even more power," Sasuke said, and the tone of his voice changed. It got darker and colder than ever. Naruto landed on the water and looked up at Sasuke with sad eyes. "What is it with you and power, Sasuke?" Naruto asked. Sasuke looked at him like he had never seen him before. "Power doesn't mean anything if you have no one to protect, Sasuke. The path you're on is not the way to real power." "What do you know about real power, Naruto?" Sasuke glared at Naruto with red eyes filled with hate. "Even now, I can see that power flowing through your body," he said. Naruto's eyes grew narrow. "If my power isn't real power, what makes yours real? The way you use your powers is what makes them different," Naruto said as he loosened up a bit. "You use your power to help yourself and no one else, but I use mine to help people who need it. That, Sasuke, is true power. Whoever told you that load of crap about Naruto is lying to you," Sasuke said as he started to walk down the statue a few feet. "Power is the ability to crush any enemy in front of you and kill all those who stand in your way. Now that Naruto has real power, stop talking about protecting or helping others. Power is only meant to help you get ahead in this world. I guess there's no point in talking anymore, is there?" Sasuke asked. Naruto focused his chakra on the seal on his right palm and made his Rasengan. Sasuke laughed as he saw Naruto raise an eyebrow in confusion and ask, "Are you really going to fight me with that? We already know that your weak jutsu can't beat my Chidori," he said. Naruto just shook his head and smiled. If you really believe that, then come at me. Sasuke glared at Naruto and ran down the statue until he hit the water, making the water erupt around him. Sasuke came out of the water all of a sudden and went straight for Naruto. Naruto stayed still for a second, then charged at Sasuke. When they were only a few feet away from each other, they both attacked. The two attacks hit each other with a grinding sound, but Naruto didn't move an inch, which surprised Sasuke. As Sasuke pushed harder on his jutsu, and Naruto did the same, the two attacks exploded and sent Sasuke and Naruto flying backwards. Naruto was thrown into the water and splashed around until he turned around and landed on his feet. When Sasuke looked at Naruto, he did the same thing, but he was angry. How simple, said Sasuke, shaking his head and smirking at Naruto. When I first used Rasengan against you, I wasn't using it to its full power. You had me fooled for a second. Naruto didn't show any emotion as Sasuke started to laugh. But the last time we used these techniques against each other, I felt like you weren't holding back, Naruto said. Sasuke looked confused as Naruto walked over to the rock wall and did another Rasengan. This is the real power of the Rasengan, Naruto said, and then he slammed the Rasengan into the wall without saying anything else. Sasuke watched as the Rasengan easily dug through the wall. But what surprised him the most was that the wall started to shake and crack, causing chunks of rock to fall into the river. Naruto stopped his jutsu and took back his arm. Naruto looked at Sasuke and tapped the wall without looking. Half of the wall fell into the water, making waves. That's the difference between Rasengan and Chidori. Chidori is an assassination jutsu used to get in and get out, but Rasengan is brute force. It will grind away at you until you are either thrown away by the force or torn apart by it. Now I'll ask you one more time, Sasuke. Come back to the village quietly or I'll break every bone in your body. As the last piece of rock fell into the water, Sasuke clenched his teeth in anger. Naruto closed his eyes and shook his head, saying, I won't go back to that weak village. I was hoping not to have to do this, Naruto said as he opened his eyes and saw red chakra all over him. I gave you a choice, Sasuke, but I won't let you go, Naruto said. Sasuke saw the red chakra circle Naruto, but he just laughed. Don't you remember that your power is useless against my Sharingan? Naruto's eyes narrowed as Sasuke kept talking. The last time you used it against me, I could see through everything you did. With that power, you can't beat me. If I remember right, you lost the last time we fought with this power, he said. Sasuke's laughter stopped right there, and he became angry. Sasuke growled, I will kill you, Naruto, as his curse mark started to glow. Then I'll have even more power, Naruto said as he got into a fighting stance and got ready. As Naruto made hand signs, Sasuke came at him. Sasuke yelled, Katen Jikeki no Jutsu, and shot the fireball at Naruto, who narrowed his eyes. Naruto jumped over the fireball, but all he heard after that was birds singing. Naruto turned around just in time to avoid Sasuke's hand going through his back. Naruto kept turning and reaching out with his right arm to hit Sasuke in the back, but when he did, Sasuke turned into smoke and disappeared. Cage Bunshin. Naruto landed on the water's surface and looked up just in time to get kicked into the water. Naruto's head came out of the water, and when he looked up, Sasuke was holding a Chidori and his face was covered in black marks. I hope this hurts, Sasuke said as he put his hand in the water. Naruto was confused until he remembered that the Chidori was a ball of electricity that crackled. Naruto felt the electricity flow through his body, which hurt him so much that he screamed. Naruto was in the water, but Sasuke pulled him out and threw him into the rock wall. Naruto hit the wall, making a crater in the shape of a person. When Naruto tried to move, Sasuke jammed his still working Chidori into Naruto's chest. I guess you lose, Sasuke said, and Naruto looked up to see him smiling. Sasuke pulled his arm out of Naruto's chest and started walking away as Naruto slowly closed his eyes. When Kyuubi opened his eyes, he saw Naruto face down in the water. Kyuubi laughed as he poured more chakra into Naruto and said, You should be thankful that I'm inside you. Soon, everything you are will be mine, Kyuubi said as his chakra started to fall on Naruto. When Sasuke was about to jump, he felt something strange. When Sasuke turned around, he got hit in the face with a punch, which sent him flying into the other side of the canyon. Sasuke jumped off the wall and looked to see Naruto, who had turned into a fox with one tail by using his red chakra. Sasuke looked at Naruto's chest and thought, that shouldn't have happened. Naruto said to Sasuke, now where were we? As he got down on all fours and smiled in an animal way. When he stopped, Ishiki was talking to his brother. Denpa looked at his brother at the same time that Kakuheki stopped. What's that? Ishiki turned to the source of the power and said, we have a very big problem. Naruto is using a lot of Kyuubi's chakra. This made the other two look at each other in surprise before turning to see Ishiki jump towards the source of the demonic chakra. Hold on, Naruto, just hold on, Denpa and Kakuheki said as they ran through the forest to get to Naruto. Sasuke was shaking because of the power that was coming from Naruto. Why? Sasuke asked Naruto, gritting his teeth harder and harder as he got madder. Why does he keep standing up? I thought that should have killed him, but it didn't. Sasuke finally couldn't take it anymore. What does that power do, Naruto? Sasuke asked. Naruto just watched with sad eyes, but he knew Sasuke would figure it out sooner or later. I am a Jinchuriki, Sasuke, Naruto said. Sasuke was still confused until Naruto went on. When he heard, I'm the Jinchuriki to Kyuubi no Kitsune, Sasuke's eyes grew as big as saucers. Sasuke thought, the Kyuubi no Kitsune, as he slowly moved away from Naruto. That demon almost destroyed the whole village, and now it's locked up inside Naruto. Sasuke couldn't help but feel fear start to grow in his heart. Sasuke turned and jumped in the air while making hand signs, but he never got halfway done because Naruto threw his arm and sent his red chakra flying at him. Sasuke turned away from the chakra arm to get away from it, but it suddenly changed direction and grabbed him. What? This chakra moves like it has a mind of its own. Sasuke was immediately pulled toward Naruto, who punched him in the face and sent him back against the canyon wall. When Naruto looked at his hand, he saw that it was shaking and hurting a little. I can't stay in this form much longer, Naruto said as he looked at Sasuke, who was on his hands and knees huffing and puffing. Sasuke looked at Naruto, and Naruto could see that the black marks on Sasuke's face had grown bigger. What's happening? You think you're the only one who's special, Sasuke said to Naruto as his black marks started to close in, turning Sasuke's skin from white to dark gray. Sasuke smiled and looked down at his hands. Suddenly, he jerked forward as two things tried to get out of his back. When Naruto heard the ripping sound, he turned away. When he turned back, he saw Sasuke with two wings that looked like hands. But I have news for you, I'm a lot more special than you, Naruto said with a growl. He got back on all fours and charged, kicking up a wave of water. Naruto crashed into Sasuke, sending him through the wall and dragging him across the face of the rock. Sasuke stood his ground and smiled. Naruto stopped and swung Sasuke into the nearest thing, which happened to be the leg of Madara's statue. Naruto waited until Sasuke jumped out of the smoke and flapped his wings. It looks like the fox is stuck, Sasuke said with a smile as Naruto ran away. Thanks to his Sharingan, Sasuke was able to follow Naruto as he ran up Madara's statue. Just as Naruto jumped at him, Sasuke moved out of the way, but that's when he realized something. Naruto's chakra seemed to be alive. When Sasuke turned around, he saw two huge chakra hands grab his wings and throw him into Hashirama's chest, making the whole area shake. Naruto yelled, "We both can't keep this up, Sasuke." Just as Sasuke jumped out of the smoke with a cruel smile on his face. I don't know about you, but I can keep going. Sasuke put his hands together and spit out 10 small fireballs at Naruto. Naruto didn't move when the fireballs hit his chakra cloak, but when they stopped coming, he got the biggest surprise of the day. Every last fireball was a kunai with a tag that made it explode. As Sasuke laughed, the tags exploded and shook the ground even more. Sasuke stopped laughing when a fox's head made of red chakra shot at him with its teeth bared. Sasuke just barely avoided the chakra, but one of his wings was almost completely torn off, sending him back to the ground in a spiral. Naruto's shirt was blown off, he had a few burns on his chest, and blood was running down his left arm, but he was already starting to get better. The red chakra came back quickly and covered Naruto once more. Naruto turned to Sasuke as his left arm went numb and said, "Damn, it looks like this chakra can't protect me from everything." What the fuck just happened? Naruto asked as he tried to move his left arm but couldn't. Naruto heard a rock hit the water, so he looked up. Sasuke was still standing there, but he didn't have a wing. Sasuke took a step forward, but then his face scrunched up in pain and he stumbled forward. "Sasuke, please stop. If we keep going like this, we'll kill each other. Sakura asked me to bring you back safely, but to do it carefully. You're making it harder for me to keep my promise, Sasuke." Sasuke just looked at Naruto and smiled, but his eyes were mad. "What are you talking about? We're just getting started." Sasuke disappeared and then appeared right next to Naruto. Naruto dodged a kick to the head, but Sasuke caught the punch he threw with his right arm. Sasuke gave Naruto a smile and threw him into the rock wall. Sasuke looked at the wall until a wave of red chakra came towards him. Sasuke jumped into the air and tried to fly away, but when he fell, the chakra wave caught him and threw him into the wall. Naruto walked out of the wreckage with a snarl on his face and his chakra. Sasuke looked up just as Naruto's chakra wrapped around his body and threw him into the water below. When Sasuke hit the bottom of the river, it shook, but he quickly pulled himself out of the water and landed on the water, charging up another Chidori. This one was pure black and sounded like 1,000 birds taking flight. And done fooling around, Naruto. This is it. Naruto held out his hand and charged up his Rasengan, but it turned a reddish color. Naruto and Sasuke stood next to each other and looked at each other before running at each other and swinging their jutsu at each other. The river was pushed away from the two as soon as they touched. Naruto gritted his teeth and pushed harder on his Rasengan, which made Sasuke do the same. But just as Sasuke was being pushed back, he smiled. Naruto didn't know what was going on until he heard something flapping behind him. When Naruto turned around, Sasuke was smiling at him while holding another black Chidori. When Naruto turned around to look at the other Sasuke, he had his arm and was smiling cruelly as the second Chidori cut through Naruto's back. Naruto gasped as blood started to come out of his mouth and said, "Kage Bunshin." Then, Sasuke threw Naruto as hard as he could into the statue of Hashirama. The force made the statue shake. Ishiki felt Kyuubi's chakra disappear all of a sudden, and he was filled with fear. Damn, we need to move faster now. The other two nodded and picked up the pace. Naruto, please stay safe. Sasuke looked down at Naruto, who was still alive, to his surprise. From using the Chidori to the Kage Bunshin where he was standing to using his curse mark, Sasuke wasn't doing too well either. All I have to do is kill him, and then I'll have Manjikaiowu. Sasuke took out his kunai and was about to stop Naruto from laughing when his back was suddenly cut open. Sasuke jumped forward and turned to see who was coming after him. And Mitsuki was standing right next to Naruto with her hood down, showing a brown-haired woman with blue eyes that had a hint of red in them. "Who the hell are you?" And Mitsuki looked down and smiled when she saw that Naruto was breathing. And Mitsuki looked at Sasuke and said, "Don't worry about me." As she did, she let out a lot of killing intent, which made Sasuke feel like the air was being sucked out of his lungs. "I don't care about you. Naruto is my concern, so run away, Uchiha, before I crush your clan right now," she said, and the way she said it made it sound like she would. Sasuke turned around and gave Naruto one last look before disappearing in a cloud of leaves. And Mitsuki put her head on Naruto's chest and said, "Naruto." She heard a faint heartbeat and smiled, but she knew he would die if she didn't get him to Konoha. And Mitsuki was about to bend down and pick Naruto up when she heard twigs break. She quickly turned around and saw Ishiki, Denpa, and Kakuheki. Ishiki held up his hands and said, "Whoa, there we are." And Mitsuki kept looking at him, but her blue eyes had turned blood red. And Mitsuki growled, "Show me." Ishiki slowly lowered his arms and said, "We found you on the edge of death. We brought you to Onanami to help you. Then you asked if there was any way you could pay us back. And from that moment on you helped watch over Naruto." And Mitsuki looked at Ishiki a little longer before relaxing. Ishiki was glad to see that her eyes were slowly getting back to normal. And Mitsuki smiled sneakily at Ishiki and said, "Please don't ever look at me with those eyes again." Ishiki smiled right back. Ishiki looked down and saw Naruto. His smile went away as soon as he saw him, but before he could say anything, they heard birds chirping. When they all turned around, Kakuheki had an arm around his neck, and Kakashi was standing behind him with a Reikiri. "Tell me what happened, or I'll show your friend the gates of hell." Kakashi glared at them, and everyone could feel the electricity in his jutsu building up. Isiki pointed at the boy behind him and said, "Do you really want to stand here and talk when Naruto is dying? Besides, we just got here, and we were told to bring something to the Hokage," Ishiki said as he took the scroll out of his pack and showed it to Kakashi. Kakashi looked at it suspiciously, but one look at Naruto made him decide. "Fine, but make one mistake, and I'll make you wish you'd never been born." Ishiki nodded to Enmitsuki, who gently picked up Naruto and jumped with the group as fast as they could towards Konoha. After giving Choji the medicine that would save his life, Tsunade was about to leave the hospital when she heard a voice calling her. "Hokage-sama." Tsunade turned around and saw Naruto in Enmitsuki's arms, with his eyes barely open and a hole in his chest that was slowly healing. "Bring him inside quickly." Enmitsuki nodded, and she and Tsunade ran into the hospital. "It looks like today will be a long one." Naruto woke up in the hospital again, but this time he had a terrible headache and a burning pain in his chest. Naruto grumbled, "Last time I'll put that Chidori version in the chest," just as Tsunade walked into the room. "Naruto, you're awake." Tsunade ran over, and when she got close enough, she gave him a punch to the head, but it didn't have any chakra. Naruto grabbed his head and said, "Oh," as he glared at Tsunade. Tsunade just glared down at Naruto and asked, "Why did you do that?" That was making us so worried, Naruto, Tsunade said as she pulled the charts off his bed and pushed them at him. Check how long you've been gone. Naruto did this, and what he found surprised him. 2 weeks, the chart said. Naruto couldn't believe it. How Kyuubi usually heals me enough to wake me up in 2 days. Because Kyuubi might be able to heal almost any wound. But the deeper the wound, the slower it will heal. Tsunade just kept staring at Naruto as he put the chart down and looked at her. I couldn't do it, Naruto said as he looked at his covers and tightened his grip on them. I couldn't get Sasuke back, Tsunade said. He looked down and was about to punch again, but then he saw that Naruto wasn't in the best shape, either physically or emotionally. Naruto, if you couldn't bring him back, why didn't you kill him? When he heard the word kill, Naruto jerked back and looked down. Tsunade waited because she knew Naruto had more to say. Naruto said, I was supposed to do just that, but then I remembered what I promised Sakura, so I aimed lower, but I realized that no matter where I aimed, Sasuke was going to die. I wanted to keep my promise, and if I couldn't do that, I don't deserve to be Hokage. Tsunade knew Naruto was hiding something, but she didn't ask him about it. When the door opened, Sakura and Hinata were both holding flowers, but when Hinata saw Naruto, she ran up to him and hugged him. Pain shot through Naruto's body, but it went away just as quickly as it came. Hinata began to cry into Naruto's shoulder as she said, Naruto. This hurt Naruto more than any wound. When I saw you, I really thought you were going to die, Naruto told Hinata as he gently moved her back so she could look into his eyes. Naruto gave Hinata a quick kiss and said, I told you I'm not going to die soon. Naruto looked at Sakura and was about to say something, but Sakura spoke first. Sakura said, It's okay, Naruto, as she put the flowers on his legs and gave him a gentle hug. I know you tried, but I guess I'm to blame. For a few seconds, Naruto looked confused. I told you to bring Sasuke back. I tried to count on you to bring him back, but I can't anymore. I will help and do whatever needs to be done to bring Sasuke back, or Sakura left the sentence unfinished as she turned around and left. But not before giving Naruto a smile. When Naruto looked at Tsunade, he saw that she was trying to hide something. Tsunade, what is it? The council wants to talk to you, they said. Naruto laid down and groaned. Tell them I'm not interested in being, Naruto began. But Tsunade cut him off. It's not about that anymore, Naruto. Naruto looked at Tsunade and saw sadness in her eyes. Naruto just narrowed his eyes at Tsunade and said, It's something a little more important. Homura yelled at Ishiki, You can't be serious. Ishiki rubbed Homura's ear. This place really echoes. Denpa smiled at his brother and got a slap on the back of the head. Yes, it does. Ishiki looked at Kakuheki, who was sleeping against the wall, while Enmitsuki looked at Danzo every few seconds with a slight worry in her eyes. And just so you know, we really are here to take Naruto to a friend of ours so he can get more training. As Koharu looked at the group, she said, I'm sorry, but that's not possible. Naruto will have to stay in the village. Look, we can play this silly game, but Naruto will end up coming with us. Danzo stood up and looked more closely at Enmitsuki, who moved away a little. Danzo asked, Have I seen you before? This made the girl move away a little more. With that hair and eye color, you're from the Tentaukirai clan, the man said. Enmitsuki just looked down. Enmitsuki looked mad at Danzo and said, I don't know what you're talking about. My name is Enmitsuki, Danzo said as he sat down again. That right there proves it. I met some members of your clan during the Second Great Shinobi War, and they all had moon-related names. It looks like you are no different, but I don't understand why your clan was wiped out during the war. Enmitsuki said through clenched teeth, My father was able to get my mother away. And now it's your turn, he said. Enmitsuki didn't say anything, but her silence said everything. Before they could go on, the door opened and Naruto, Jiraiya, and Tsunade walked in. When Naruto looked around the room, he noticed 2 people he knew. Naruto smiled as he walked up to the 2 people who had helped him get started on the path of Fuinjutsu, and said, Ishiki, Denpa. Denpa put his hand on Naruto's head and rubbed it, making his already messy hair even messier. He said, Naruto, you've grown since the last time we saw you. Naruto said with pride, You guys also helped me get a lot stronger. Ishiki shook Naruto a little and said, We can tell. Naruto pointed to Enmitsuki and Kakuheki, who was just rubbing his eyes as he woke up, and asked, So who are they? You don't remember me, Naruto, said Enmitsuki. She looked hurt, and Naruto's eyes grew wider. Enmitsuki smiled and nodded. Naruto looked at Kakuheki, who looked bored as he looked at Naruto. Kakuheki yawned at Naruto and asked, Who are you? This made Naruto raise an eyebrow and look at Ishiki, who just shook his head. His name is Kakuheki, Ishiki said. When he looked at the man, he saw that he was sleeping again. Well, let's get back to business, Ishiki said. He looked at Tsunade, who gave him a cold look. Hokage-sama, don't give me that look. I didn't come here to demand Naruto, but to say that he needs to come with us. What if I say no? Tsunade asked with her arms crossed and a defiant look on her face. Ishiki's answer was to pull out the scroll and give it to her. Ishiki watched as Tsunade opened the scroll and started to read its words. I'm afraid that's not an option. Tsunade's face slowly went from being angry to being confused to being sad. Tsunade's face changed as soon as she saw the bottom of the scroll. Tsunade yelled, Jiraiya, and the toad hermit jumped up and ran over to her. Check to see if this is real or not, Tsunade told Jiraiya as she gave him the scroll. Jiraiya took the scroll and began to look at it carefully. When Jiraiya got back, his face said what had happened. Sorry, Tsunade, it's true. Tsunade took Jiraiya by the arm and led him out of the council room and into the hallway. Ishiki smiled at Naruto as they listened to Tsunade yell at Jiraiya, but it wasn't loud enough to hear. When the two of them went back into the room, Tsunade looked angry and sad. Tsunade barked, if you hurt him. And Mitsuki said with a smile, we promise to take good care of him. Tsunade kept staring at them until she looked at Jiraiya. Jiraiya, you're going with them, she told him. Jiraiya looked at her and smiled while nodding. Ishiki smiled and looked at the council, who was staring at Tsunade in shock. Koharu yelled at Tsunade Haim. What are you doing, Tsunade Haim? The other two looked at her with slight glares. Tsunade threw them the scroll and said, I have no choice in this matter. They looked at it with shocked eyes. But this means, Hormira began, but Denpa quickly shut him up by putting a cloth over his mouth. SHH, Denpa said with a smile as he put his finger to his lips. Denpa took his side of the cloth off and looked at Naruto. He said, that is a secret. All right, we'll leave tomorrow, Ishiki said. Naruto was still confused about what was going on, and Ishiki could tell. Naruto, we're going to take you to a special person who will help you train for 3 years, they told him. His eyes lit up, but then he thought of Hinata. So, we're leaving tomorrow, right? Ishiki nodded, and as soon as he did, Naruto walked out the door. Ishiki looked at Jiraiya and asked, did I say something? Jiraiya shook his head. No, he just has to go do something, Jiraiya said. He then turned around and went out the same door. Hinata was finally walking toward her house when Naruto found her. Hinata turned toward Naruto's voice, but the two of them crashed into each other and fell to the ground. Hinata opened her eyes and saw Naruto on top of her, which made her red as a tomato. Naruto quickly got off of Hinata and helped her get up, which made him feel bad. Hinata, I need to tell you something, Naruto said. Hinata nodded and listened carefully to what he had to say. It looks like I'm going on a 3-year training mission, Naruto said. Hinata was shocked and couldn't believe Naruto would be gone for that long. Hinata asked, when do you leave? With sadness in her voice. Naruto just looked at Hinata with sad eyes and said, tomorrow. Then he took her hand and led her through the village. Hinata looked at her house and then at Naruto and asked, what are we doing? Hinata smiled at Naruto and told him, we're going to make the most of the time we have left today. When she turned around, she saw a figure in a white kimono go back into the house. Hinata asked with a smile as Naruto pulled her close and kissed her, so were you first? Hinata blushed and nodded as they walked toward their first stop. Hinata smiled as she walked up to her door at night and went inside when she got home. Hinata stopped when she heard her father Hayashi ask, where have you been? She turned around and saw him sitting in a chair and looking calm. Hinata said, father, with regret in her voice, I'm sorry I'm so late for our training, but Hayashi finished for her by saying, with Naruto Uzumaki as he got up. Hinata said, so it was you I saw watching us, as Hayashi walked up to her. Hayashi smiled sadly as he looked down at his daughter and said, yes, it's too bad that he has to leave tomorrow. Hinata looked down at the ground as Hayashi put his hand on her shoulder and said, so you heard. Hayashi gave her a small kiss on the head when she said, yes, I did. Hinata looked up at her father and gave him a big hug. I'll let him off this time, but you'll have to make up the training you missed today, her father said. Hinata said, thank you, and ran off to her room, leaving Hayashi smiling behind. Ishiki asked Naruto as he got close to the gate, did you say all the goodbyes you wanted to? Naruto said, yeah, as he looked into the forest. Now let's go, Naruto said, and he and the others followed Denpa as he led them to their destination. Don't worry, Hinata, Naruto told the village, I'll be back and stronger than ever. Watch out, Sasuke, because I'm coming for you, Naruto said as a bird flew into the air and disappeared into the clouds. When Naruto woke up, he was on his back and moving through the woods. When Naruto woke up, Kakuheki was carrying him, and he looked just as tired as always. Naruto asked Kakuheki, how long have I been sleeping? Kakuheki looked at him with a bored face. Too long, was all he said before putting Naruto back on his feet and walking away. Naruto looked at Ishiki and asked, did I do something wrong? Ishiki shook his head no. Ishiki smiled down at Naruto as Kakuheki yawned and rubbed his eyes. No, we kind of made him carry you because you were still sleeping and we needed to move. Why does he always look so tired? Naruto asked as he looked at Kakuheki, who looked like he was about to pass out. Ishiki smiled at Kakuheki as he rested against a tree and said, well, it's not that he's tired. He's the laziest person you'll ever meet, but there's another reason. If the enemy thinks you're already weak, he'll make a mistake. Naruto watched as Kakuheki leaned against the nearest tree and fell asleep. Ishiki gave his friend a whack on the back of the head while smiling at him. Wake up, sleeping beauty. It's time to move. 1 hour later, the group made it to a small clearing in the middle of which was a small cabin. When the group got close to the house, the door opened and Aninami smiled at them. Aninami walked slowly toward Naruto and stopped in front of him with the biggest smile anyone had ever seen. I've only seen you once, Naruto, in a tiny picture, said Aninami as he hugged Naruto tightly, causing Naruto to look around in a confused way. I'm sorry, but I don't know who you are. Aninami gently pulled away and looked at Naruto with a look of slight disappointment before he smiled again. Aninami stood up and looked at Naruto with happiness in his eyes. He said, I'm sorry. I should have introduced myself first. I'm Aninami Uzumaki, the father of Kushina Uzumaki and your grandfather, Aninami said. Naruto just stared at Aninami in shock. Senji was standing on a pedestal when a bird flew toward him. The bird landed on his shoulder and started to tweet in his ear. As the bird talked, Senji's smile got even bigger. Senji gave the small bird a seed and said, excellent. The bird flew away in a puff of smoke. So Aninami is still alive. I thought he was dead after he used his clan's most forbidden Fuinjutsu. Oh well, I guess he's just another loose end I need to tie up. Senji was about to jump down when he heard a voice behind him. So you have your own plans. When Senji turned around, Madara was looking at him. I knew you would find out, Madara, he said. Madara's one eye widened in surprise, but he quickly closed it again. I thought you had completely forgotten about me, Madara said as he slowly walked up to Senji, who just stared at him. How could I forget about you, little Madara? Senji asked. Madara's eyes narrowed in anger as Senji gently stepped down from his pedestal. Madara watched Senji walk around him with a calm smile as he said, don't talk to me like I'm a child. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend the great Madara. Or should I say the once great Madara? Madara's hands twitched as he glared at Senji. Watch how you talk to me, said Madara as he turned to face Senji, who was slowly getting off the wall. I know your secret, Senji. You do have a special Jiken ninjutsu, but the ability to slow down time in your personal space is only a side effect of the real power. It lets you slow down your aging and even stop your blood flow for a few seconds. But how did you know it was me? This made Senji smile even bigger. Please, you may have some of these fools hooked on your Tobai thing, but I was there when you and Hashirama made Konoha and made that deal with Uzushiagakure, Senji said with his arms crossed and a smug look on his face. As soon as I saw you, I knew your chakra. Madara continued to stare at Senji for a few more seconds. This stays between me and you, understand? Madara walked past Senji, who smiled with his eyes closed. But of course I mean there's nothing to be gained if I tell the others who you really are, Senji said. This stopped Madara, who slowly turned his head towards Senji, who kept smiling. Have a nice day. Senji then got off the wall and vanished in a slight flicker of speed. Madara thought to himself, I'll have to keep a close eye on him, as he walked down the hallway with a frown on his face. Naruto asked, so you're my mom's dad? With a tone of surprise in his voice. Yes, your mother was named Kushina and she was my daughter. Aninami smiled down at Naruto as his disbelief soon turned into anger. Naruto growled, then why did I have to grow up alone? This made Aninami look away with sadness. Aninami said, as a light breeze blew through his mid-length gray hair. I wanted to come help you, but I couldn't even leave the cabin in my condition. I did everything I could to keep you safe. I had Enmatsuki watch over you and Ishiki and Denpa give you the book over Fuinjutsu, all in the hopes of finally meeting you. Naruto watched as Aninami gently sat on the ground still wearing his smile. Naruto turned and glared at Ishiki and Denpa. You said I was the last Uzumaki left, Ishiki said. Denpa and Ishiki both smiled nervously at each other. Ishiki said, well, back then we didn't have a choice, but Naruto just kept staring at them. Denpa's question, what would you have done if we told you that one of your clan members was still alive? Made Naruto look at the ground and think. You would have begged and pleaded with us to take you to him, but we couldn't let you see him yet. Naruto asked, why not? And got an angry answer from Aninami, not from Ishiki or Denpa. Because the training I have planned was going to require you to have a few more tricks up our sleeve before we attempt it. Naruto looked at his grandfather with a puzzled expression. And what kind of training is that? Onanami asked with a smile as he looked at Naruto. We'll help you take full control of the Kyuubi's chakra, Onanami told Naruto. Naruto just smiled and looked at Onanami. Onanami looked at Naruto with narrowed eyes and said, done. Naruto's smile faded. No, you haven't. Before Naruto could interrupt, Onanami continued onwards. You've learned how to use its chakra, but not how to separate it, Onanami said. Naruto's confused face said it all, and she sighed. Okay, the Kyuubi is made up of two things, its chakra and its will. Now tell me what happens when you tap into Kyuubi's chakra. Naruto thought back to the last few times he used Kyuubi's chakra. I felt angry, like I had a lot of anger building up inside of me, Onanami said. He nodded his head and went on. Onanami could see that Naruto was listening with everything he had, which made him smile. He said, that is the Kyuubi trying to control you and take you over. When you use Kyuubi's power, you also use its will. The only way to use Kyuubi's chakra to its full potential is to separate it from the beast itself. Naruto nodded his head and smiled with everything he had. All right, let's get this going, Naruto said. He took a step forward, but Onanami stopped him again. Sorry, Naruto, but you can't face the Kyuubi yet, Onanami said. Naruto looked at him strangely until he explained. First, you have to be the darkness in your heart's deepest parts. Only then can you face the Kyuubi. That was when Jiraiya had enough. Jiraiya glared at Onanami and asked, what are you talking about? Onanami just smiled back. Naruto can't beat the Kyuubi, not at the level he is at. That's why we're going to help him, she said. This made everyone look confused. I'm going to send us into Naruto's mind using the Fuinjutsu seals I've been working on since I planned this little reunion. Once there, we'll be able to help him fight off the Kyuubi while he draws out its chakra. Once that's done, the real training can begin. But first we need something. Onanami stared at Jiraiya, who continued to glare at Onanami. We need Jiraiya's ki. I'm sorry, but I can't allow. Jiraiya stopped when Onanami glared at him with hate in his eyes. I don't have much time left, Jiraiya, said Onanami without any emotion. Besides, don't you think Minato would have wanted his son to have the ki? Jiraiya stared at Onanami with wide eyes, shocked. What did you think? I was always watching over my daughter as she grew up, but I couldn't get there in time to save her. So this Minato guy is my dad, Onanami said to Naruto, looking surprised. You don't know the name of your Yondaime Hokage. Naruto's eyes went as wide as saucer dishes. I guess you didn't know, so I'll tell you. Your mother was Kushina Uzumaki and your father was the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze. You weren't. Onanami's voice was clear and precise. This stopped Jiraiya. He is going to find out sooner or later, and besides, now that he knows who his family was, he has to get stronger in order to preserve their memories. Naruto looked at Onanami and nodded his head. Onanami was about to get up when he grabbed his chest and started coughing up small amounts of blood, which scared everyone. Naruto tried to help, but Onanami told him not to when his fit was over. I'm running out of time, Jiraiya, so if you want Naruto to get stronger in order to protect himself, then you need to hand over the ki. Jiraiya looked at the group and then looked at Naruto. Jiraiya smiled when Naruto gave him a look that was nothing but pure determination. When I told your father he was going to be Hokage, he gave me the same look, Jiraiya said, biting his thumb and rubbing it on his palm. I guess I have no choice but to believe in you, just like I believed in him. Jiraiya slammed his hands together and opened his mouth. A very long toad with a scroll for a belly came out. Jiraiya, what are you doing summoning me? The toad stated in a grumpy tone. Sorry, but I'm giving you to Naruto Gerotora. This made the scroll toad look shocked. Gerotora crossed his arms in an angry X shape and said, absolutely not. The kid is not ready to have this kind of responsibility. Besides, do you think he is ready to face the Kyuubi? Jiraiya gave it some thought before he replied. Gerotora seemed to relax after saying no, but then Jiraiya spoke. I don't think anyone is ever fully ready to face the Kyuubi, but if anyone can do it, it's Naruto. With all of us here, he has the best chance of beating it. Gerotora began to laugh. I don't mean to sound rude, but the entire Konoha forces could barely hold the Kyuubi back. Gerotora looked at Naruto with an intense stare. What gives you the idea that you can win? Because my father managed to beat the Kyuubi, Naruto announced without fear, startling Gerotora. I don't care what happens to me afterwards, but I will gain Kyuubi's power. I have to in order to protect my friends. Besides, together with everyone we will be able to beat the Kyuubi, and that is a promise. Gerotora looked at Naruto a few seconds longer before turning back to Jiraiya. It doesn't really matter what I say, does it? Jiraiya smiled as Gerotora unraveled his scroll stomach to reveal seals all over it with a hand-sized one in the middle. Put your hand on the circle and add some of your chakra. Naruto did just that and left a handprint of his on the scroll. now open wide. Naruto was confused until Jirotora launched himself forward and stuck himself into Naruto's mouth. Jiraiya laughed as he watched his godson try to get the toad out of his mouth. Jiraiya simple walked forward and with a chakra-enhanced push he shoved the toad into Naruto. Naruto fell to the ground gasping for air and glaring at Jiraiya. Why did you do that? Because Jirotora has to store himself inside you for you to use the key. Jiraiya smiled and Naruto got up, but still glared at him. Now that we got the key, it is time for you to face your own hatred, Naruto. Onanami got off the ground and led the way to the cabin with the group following behind. Enmatsuki, I want you to look out here in case we have uninvited guests. Enmatsuki nodded and turned to face the woods. After Naruto and the others went into the house, they were led to a small secret door that led to a large underground area with seals all over it. This is where we'll fight Kyuubi, and you'll fight your darkness, said Sasuke. Naruto nodded and walked to the middle of the room. Now sit down and meditate, and don't let anything take your mind off of what you're doing. Naruto closed his eyes and breathed in and out so slowly that it looked like he wasn't breathing. Naruto opened his eyes to see the same old sewer as before. Naruto turned down the passage that led to the Kyuubi and found an iron gate blocking his passage. I see, so I have to go this way, Naruto said. He then turned around and went the other way. As Naruto walked down the passage, he heard a voice echoing in the sewer. Why? Naruto continued onward without any hesitation. Why do you care about that village and that traitor? Naruto kept walking, but found images of his past flash in front of his eyes. Naruto walked until he was out of the sewer and in an open environment with blackened trees and a scorched earth. Naruto kept looking around until he saw someone far away standing with their back to him. Who are you? Naruto called out and watched as the person turned to him and smiled a cruel smile. The person walked towards Naruto until Naruto saw him completely. It was him. What's wrong, Naruto? Yami, Naruto called out. Are you shocked to see the real you? Naruto just stared at his dark half in confusion. What are you talking about? Naruto asked, angered at this dark being that smirked even bigger at Naruto. I really am Naruto. Then why am I standing here in front of you? Yami asked, opening his arms wide as if to give a hug. If you look at this area, you'll see your anger and rage. I'm the only real king of this land. I'm done talking. I have to beat you to control Kyuubi. Yami's eyes flinched when Naruto said Kyuubi's name, but Naruto didn't notice. Naruto put his fingers together and made 5 copies of himself. He said, I guess all I have to do now is beat you down. You really are a fool, Naruto. Yami did the same thing, creating 5 clones. I'll do whatever you can do, Naruto said with a narrowed brow as Yami charged at him with anger and excitement in his dark eyes. Naruto's eye opened quickly as he lay on the ground and took a deep breath. Naruto asked, how can I win? So I take it you ended in a tie. Onanami spoke, making everyone look at him. I guess it isn't much of a surprise. Every time one of the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi tries to control its power, they usually always tie with their inner darkness 4 times in the least. Naruto looked at the ground with slight disappointment in his eyes. How can I beat someone who knows exactly what I'm going to do? Naruto looked at his grandfather for help, but found his grandfather looking at him with a sad smile. I'm afraid that is something you are going to have to figure out for yourself. Before Naruto could respond, Onanami brought his hand up to silence Naruto. Let me explain. The reason I can't help you is that it's different for each person. What do you mean? Naruto asked, confused. Let me put it this way, Onanami said as he sat on the ground and watched his grandson do the same thing. Everyone has something that makes them dark. The darkness comes from not accepting that part of themselves. To be it, you have to do the opposite of what your darkness is doing. But you have to figure out what that is. During the short talk and fight they had, Naruto thought about everything Yami said. I know what to do. Naruto looked at Onanami with a grin like a fox, making Onanami smile back. As the seals began to light up, Naruto sat down and started to meditate. Naruto woke up to find himself back in the same harsh world. Suddenly, kunai came flying over Naruto's head, and he had to duck. Naruto turned around and saw Yami spinning another kunai in his hand. Nice dodge, but can you dodge this? Nice dodge, but can you dodge this? Yami threw the other kunai, but it exploded into 30 pieces. Naruto Simple brought his arm guard up and created his chakra shield. Yami Simple waited as Naruto lowered his chakra shield and then he smirked at him. Come on, why don't you attack? No, I'm not. Yami's eyes went wide at Naruto's simple statement. You have to attack, Yami said in a little bit of fear as Naruto smiled at him. Naruto asked, why? As Yami gave him a little glare. Is it to prove that you exist, or because I want to protect Konoha and keep my promise to bring Sasuke back? Why do you defend them? Yami ran at Naruto, which made Naruto take a small step to the side to avoid her. All they did was treat us like garbage. So why do you protect them? Naruto watched as Yami fell to his knees and cried. Because no matter what happens, Konoha will always be my home, and Sasuke will always be my brother. Yami looked up at Naruto with anger in his eyes and asked, then why am I here? I won't go away, Naruto. Yami ran at Naruto with his fist raised, but when he got close enough, Naruto wrapped both arms around him and gave him a hug. I won't let you disappear. Naruto smiled as he felt Yami weaken a little. You will always be a part of me and nothing will ever change that. If it wasn't for your existence, I'd probably never be where I am now. So for that I thank you. Yami's eyes lightened up as he turned into light and faded into Naruto. Onanami watched as Naruto opened his eyes, and he knew right away what had happened. So you won, Naruto said with a smile to his grandfather. Okay, take a break, tomorrow we will fight the Kyuubi. Naruto nodded his head as he laid down on the floor with a smile. Naruto walked down to the basement with the group that was going with him. The group included Onanami, Kakuheki, Denpa, and Jiraiya. Jiraiya had changed the most. He now had two toads on his shoulder that kept bickering with each other. Ishiki stayed behind because he said he would only get in the way, and Enmatsuki stayed behind to watch the area. The plan was simple. Denpa, Kakuheki, Onanami, and Jiraiya would fight the fox while Naruto slowly drained its chakra. But Onanami warned Naruto that he was the one who had to kill the fox or they would never be able to beat the Kyuubi. As Naruto walked down the candlelit stairs, his eyes seemed far away, almost as if he were in a trance. He was thinking about what his grandfather said to him after he woke up. Flashback. Now, Naruto, you must pull out all of Kyuubi's chakra to control him, Onanami said with hesitation, making Naruto worried. But at the same time, Kyuubi will be doing the same thing, and if he succeeds, he will come back. And what happens if I do fail? Onanami looked down at the ground and looked a lot older. Then I'll seal the Kyuubi inside of me for the briefest of seconds, and then I'll set off the explosive tags in the area. Naruto's eyes grew wide when he heard his grandfather's suicide plan. But why? Naruto asked, which made Onanami look at him like he was crazy. If you could lock Kyuubi into you, why do you need to kill yourself? Onanami held out 2 fingers and said, 2 reasons. He then started to list the reasons. 1. Because my body is old and I won't live long. Sealing Kyuubi into me would only drain me more. 2. If I can't stop my grandson from turning into that monster, I don't deserve to live. Naruto was shocked as Onanami rubbed the top of his head and slowly walked away. Are you ready, Naruto? Asked Onanami as everyone stood behind him and Naruto sat down. Naruto gave Onanami a quick nod, and the others put their hands on his chest or shoulder. Now, remember that these won't be the real you, but chakra copies. How long they can last depends on how much chakra you give me. Everyone nodded and started pouring their chakra into Onanami. Naruto closed his eyes and drifted into his mindscape. Kyuubi's eye opened just as Naruto and the others came into view, which made him smile. Well, if it isn't my jailer, Kyuubi looked at Naruto, who looked back calmly. And you brought guests, Kyuubi said. He looked at each person with his slitted eye. Jiraiya, Kushina, and that cursed Yadame Hokage talked about you a lot, the fox said. Naruto's eyes got big when he heard his mother's name, and he looked up at the fox, who smiled down at him. Onanami Kushina would always wake up crying because she thought her father had died and use a Shiaga cure. You can try to tease me, but it won't work, Onanami said in his old, angry voice. Kyuubi looked down at Naruto, who was shaking a little, and said, yes, but who said I was trying to tease you? Kyuubi's eye then moved to Naruto, who was still shaking. Onanami told Naruto in a firm voice, you need to calm down right now. You knew my mom, Naruto said, looking up at Kyuubi. Kyuubi smiled down at Naruto in a mean way. Yes, you could call it that if you think being sealed into her counts as knowing her, Kyuubi said with a smile when he saw Naruto's shocked face. Oh, yes, boy, before you she was the Jinchuriki of me. Naruto shook his head as he looked at Kyuubi with a look of determination that made Kyuubi's smile fade a little. Well, I guess if she can beat you, that means I can too. Kyuubi roared at Naruto as it slammed itself against the steel cage. Don't be a haughty human, Kyuubi said. His eyes showed nothing but pure hatred. You are nothing like me, dear mother. You are just a piece of my hatred. You will never beat me, Naruto said with a smile as he pulled up his shirt. I guess we'll find out, Naruto said as he held out his arm and a seal went up the whole length of it. Then, Kyuubi was shocked when he slammed it into the seal that was holding him back and twisted it to break it. I'm going to enjoy tearing you to pieces, said Kyuubi as he smacked the gate with his paw to open it. Then, with a roar, he sent out a shockwave that pushed everyone back. Naruto was the first to get up. He turned and moved his body to land on his feet. I guess I'll pull out all the stops against you, Naruto said with a smile as Kyuubi's eyes tightened into a menacing glare. Kyuubi threw his head back and shot a chakra ball at them with enough force to break the walls of the sewer. Naruto's eyes got bigger when he couldn't figure out how to stop Kyuubi's attack. Then, in front of him, a yellow square-shaped barrier appeared. When the chakra ball hit the barrier, it exploded, sending spider cracks dancing up its frame and small pieces falling. I really didn't want to try, but you're too annoying to leave alone. Naruto turned to see Kakuheki standing with his hands in front of him. But Naruto could tell from the sweat running down his face that he was almost done. I'm not done yet, Naruto said. Suddenly, he was surrounded by a barrier and thrown hard at a wall, which broke apart and let the aftershock hit everyone. Naruto could feel the attack go through the barrier, but he could also see cracks appear. When Naruto turned around, Jiraiya was right behind him, using the barrier to keep from being blown backwards. Then Naruto saw Kakuheki suddenly drop to the ground, curl up like he was going to sleep, and slowly disappear. Everyone was wrong. He's lazy, said Jiraiya. Naruto felt the barrier break, and that's when he and Jiraiya moved. Jiraiya grabbed Naruto's legs and threw him up into the air as Rasengan was being done. Kyuubi glared at Naruto and took a swing at him. He hit Naruto, sending him to the ground, but when he hit, he turned into smoke and disappeared. Hey, Kyuubi, Jiraiya said. Kyuubi turned around just as Jiraiya hit him in the face with his huge Rasengan. Now, Naruto. Kyuubi threw backwards just as Naruto popped out of the ground and grabbed Kyuubi's tail. Kyuubi looked down and saw Naruto start to drain his chakra, but before he could get up, a cage of blades fell and pinned him to the ground. Kyuubi looked up and saw Denpa waving at him from where he was sitting on the handle of his dagger. I will not lose. All of a sudden, the chakra began to turn black as it went into Naruto, making one of his eyes black. I said it before, Naruto Uzumaki you are, but now only a small piece of my hatred is gone. Naruto's eyes started to close when he heard two voices. No, Naruto. Naruto's eyes flew open and he looked into the faces of his father and a woman with bright red hair. He was no longer looking at Kyuubi. Instead, he was looking at a white area. You should be here, Dad. Minato looked surprised, but she nodded anyway. Mom, Kushina nodded her head, and the two of them got the biggest bear hug they'd ever had. Naruto said softly as his parents patted his head, I thought I would never see you again. Minato turned to Kushina and said, It's okay, Naruto. Kushina smiled as she sent some of her chakra through Naruto, and said, Honey, would you mind holding Kyuubi back? Everyone stared in shock as chakra chains shot out of Naruto and bound the Kyuubi. Kyuubi thought in a panic, this chakra is impossible. Kushina said Onanami with a touch of disdain. I thought Minato would put your chakra in here so you could see your son, she said. Mom, Dad, I have so many questions, Naruto said. Kushina gave Naruto a hug, which made Naruto stop talking. I'm sorry, Naruto. When Naruto looked at his father, who was looking away, he was confused. If I was stronger, you wouldn't be in the mess you're in, Naruto said as he gently pushed his mother back and smiled at her. I don't blame either of you, he said. This surprised them both. I knew what you did was for the good of the village, so the best thing I can do is make sure your sacrifice wasn't in vain. Minato looked at him with a curious look and asked, Wait, how do you know so much about Naruto? Come with me, and you will see for yourself, Naruto said as he went back into his body. When Naruto opened his eyes, the chains were already connecting to the ground. Kushina and Minato appeared next to Naruto out of nowhere. Kushina looked around until she saw an old man who looked so weak that it made her tear up. Onanami smiled as his daughter hugged him and said, Father, when you made me get in the boat, I thought you were dead. Onanami's daughter told him. I thought you were dead. When Onanami looked at his daughter, his eyes seemed to get brighter. He said, I'm sorry I made you worry so much. Kushina looked at Onanami, who just walked forward while dropping his cane and said, I guess it's time I join this fight. Kyuubi snarled as he broke free of his chains. I guess it can't be helped, seeing as how powerful you are. Onanami threw 4 tags in a circle around Kyuubi and said, What a silly little beast. Kushina's eyes grew wide. Father, no. Onanami turned and smiled as he turned back to the Kyuubi, who was getting up. Kyuubi let out a roar as it said, Fuinjutsu, Jikenteishi. It then froze in place. Naruto looked at Onanami, who seemed to get older every second, and said, If you want to beat Kyuubi, I suggest you do it now and get famous. When Naruto turned around, Minato, Jiraiya, and Denpa were standing next to him. Naruto put out his hand at the same time that the 3 of them poured their chakra into him. Naruto focused on his seal and kept pumping chakra into it until he was holding a huge ball of chakra that was spiraling. Minato told his son, Naruto, as he gave him one last hug and left, I'm proud of how you grew up. Kyuubi, I have only one request, Naruto said as he started to take chakra from Kyuubi. "Get out of my face," Naruto said as he shoved the big Rasengan right into Kyubai's face. The fox went flying backwards, but he left something behind, his chakra. Naruto felt the chakra spread through his whole body, making him look like a ghost. At the same time, the Kyuubi drooled and came out of the rubble. Kyuubi threw his head back and made a huge chakra ball, saying, "I can't lose to you." "Wow, you have this much power even now," Kyuubi said as he glared at Naruto. Naruto smiled and turned his seal again, making the interlocking Torii drop and pin Kyuubi while the gate closed. Kyuubi thought to himself as he slowly fell asleep, "This Fuinjutsu and that new form are impossible. He looks just like Rikard Sennin, Sage of the Six Paths." When Naruto turned around, he saw Kushina holding a crying Onanami in her lap. "How many times do I have to tell you, Kushina?" Onanami asked as he slowly disappeared. "You shouldn't cry," he said. This made Kushina cry even more. "Why didn't you ever try to get in touch with me?" Kushina asked with hurt in her voice as her father smiled. Onanami gave his daughter one last kiss and told her, "It was better for you to look forward than to be stuck in the past. But I never stopped watching you grow into a beautiful woman who married a man who would make her happy, and had a cute little boy. If anything, I should be sorry," her father said with a sad smile that made Kushina look down. "I watched as that monster of a man tore you away from your family." I was too weak to. Kushina softly silenced her father with a hug full of love. Onanami looked at Kushina with tired eyes and said, "You don't have to apologize. I know you would do anything to get to Konoha, but in your current state you couldn't make it in time." Onanami turned away, but Kushina turned his head towards him and said, "I'll never blame you for anything, father. When Naruto needed help the most, you were there for him." Kushina kissed the top of Onanami's head and smiled down at him with tears in her eyes. "I'll see you soon, father." With that, Onanami disappeared, leaving only Naruto and Kushina. Kushina looked at the cage as chains were put around it to keep Kyuubi in. "Naruto, I don't have much chakra left," she said, "but I can make sure Kyuubi doesn't get out." Naruto nodded as his mother started to fade away. "I just have a few things to say. Thank you for letting me be your mother. Show everyone how strong you can be, and don't let that Hinata girl get away from you. I would have liked to see you with someone with the same attitude as me, but I can tell she has fire in her that will keep you on your toes. However, there is one person you should stay away from. His name is Madara Uchiha, and he is a cold-hearted man who would do anything for the Kyuubi and all the power it would give him." Naruto looked at the ground and then back at his mother. "How do you know that, mother?" As Kushina spoke, her eyes filled with tears. "Because he was in charge of the Kyuubi when they attacked Konoha," she said. "But don't go looking for him. He's too strong for you right now." Naruto said, "I promise, Mom," but he was fighting the urge to go look for this man. "I love you, Mom." Kushina smiled at Naruto as she gave him a kiss and said, "I love you, son." Then she slowly disappeared. When Naruto woke up, Onanami looked even older than when he had last seen him. Naruto ran toward his uncle while he was coughing. "This is the price for using that Fuinjutsu," said Onanami, who seemed to be fading away. "You freeze time in whatever is in the circle, but the user ages 10 times every second he has it active. But I do have one thing left to give you." Onanami pressed a scroll into Naruto's hand. "It tells everything about us, but most importantly, it tells how we died out." Naruto's eyes widened as he looked at the scroll that told him what he wanted to know. When he looked back at Onanami, he saw that he was breathing slowly and looked even paler than before. "Grandfather." Naruto dropped the scroll and grabbed his grandfather by the clothes, making the old man jerk. Onanami looked at Naruto as the light left his eyes and said, "Naruto, I've lived this life far too long for my taste. I have a lot of regrets, but I hope that by giving you my torch, I can finally be free of those regrets. Naruto, I believe in you, but I need you to promise me one thing. That no matter what you see or hear in that scroll, you won't let your anger get the better of you." Naruto looked confused for a moment. "I promise, grandfather." Onanami smiled at Naruto as the dead Uzumaki gently closed his eyes for the last time. Everyone looked at the dead Uzumaki with sadness as Naruto gently cried over the last family member he had ever had. Naruto and the rest of the group buried the old Uzumaki. Naruto was still holding on to the last gift his grandfather gave him. After burying his grandfather, Naruto asked Kakuheki what he did in his mindscape. Kakuheki told Naruto that he could shape his chakra into barriers, and how strong they were depended on how much chakra he put into them. "So what now?" Naruto looked at Ishiki and saw that the other people who. "Why is everyone staring at me?" As Denpa answered, Ishiki smiled at what Denpa said. "Because Onanami's last request before he sent us to get you was for Naruto to follow him when he died." Denpa watched as Naruto just looked at the grave again. "Look, you don't have to decide now, but I think your path will become clear once you use that scroll." Everyone left, leaving Naruto alone with his grandfather's grave. Naruto looked at the scroll and sighed. There's no time like the present, he said. Senji was sitting around when a bird flew by his ear and chirped. Senji smiled as he heard the news. So Onanami is finally dead. Senji stood up and popped his back and continued on his walk. I guess that piece of the puzzle is solved. That's when he heard a twig snap. He turned around and saw Pain staring at him with cold gray eyes. What are you doing? Pain said it in a simple, cold, and calculated way. But if I told you, it would ruin the surprise, Senji said with a smile as Pain just looked at him. But I can tell you this, it's going to be a lot of fun. As Senji turned around, he ran into a dog with many heads that barked at him. Pain stared at Senji, who smiled back and nodded his head. I guess the same could be said about me, Senji said as he moved to the left of the dog, not even noticing it. I hope you meant what you said, Nagato, because I'll be meeting Akatsuki very soon. This thought made Senji smile even wider and laugh deep in his throat. What do you do? Madara asked in a clear tone. Pain let go of his summon and kept staring at Madara. I don't trust him, he said. Something about him makes me angry, and I don't even know why. Look, I don't know what to do about it, but he is a member of this group, Madara said as Pain twitched slightly. But I don't trust him either, Nagato, so I'm going to have Zetsu keep a close eye on him. Pain nodded and walked back up to Aimdekure with Madara watching him. When Ishiki and the others went outside to find Naruto, they saw him in a circle of seals with the scroll around his head. So he's seeing what happened to his village, Ishiki said, looking at Naruto with some curiosity. I wonder what you'll do when you see it, Naruto. He looked at his brother, who smiled at him before looking at Naruto again. So what do we do now? Kakuheki asked with a yawn, and everyone just looked at him like he was crazy. Why don't we cook something? Everyone's stomachs are growling, and Mitsuki asked. I'll go get the food ready. Ishiki, you're coming to help me. And Mitsuki grabbed his arm and pulled him away with a smile just as Ishiki was about to say no. Denpa looked at Jiraiya, who was writing in a notebook with a perverted look in his eye, and Kakuheki, who had found a nice boulder and was sleeping on it. I will never understand those two, he said. I guess I'll just watch Naruto for now. Denpa jumped up into the trees and was looking down at Naruto just as the seals started to glow. He's in. Naruto felt himself being pulled into his mind until he opened his eyes to a beautiful country with flowing rivers. He turned around and saw a couple of whirlpools in the distance. I guess this is Uzashigakure. Naruto turned around and saw a couple of people walking through the village. One of them caught his attention. Kushina, slow down, said a much younger Onanami who came running up to try to catch his daughter. Kushina stopped and let her father catch up to her. Don't move so slowly, Dad, she said. We're going to be late. Onanami smiled as he picked up his daughter and she said, my dad isn't going anywhere today. Hey, I know, but we don't see Grandpa very often, Naruto said with a smile as he watched them walk away. I know that, but first we need to stop by the Gyufukige's office. This made Kushina frown, but her father quickly tickled her into a smile. Naruto followed them as they walked toward a small tower that looked like it was made out of whirlpools. As they climbed the tower, they heard some yelling and then found themselves in front of the Gyufukige's door. They got everything going, said a rough voice. Senji, I don't know what you're talking about, but you need to calm down, Uzashio said in a calm, authoritative voice. Senji said in a calm voice, I'm warning you one last time, Uzashio-sama. If you don't back away from them, you'll end up regretting it. Before Uzashio could answer, the door slammed open, revealing an old man with black eyes. Kushina moved behind her father as she looked at Senji, who stared back. Have a good day, Senji, Onanami said. Senji looked at him with a frown. You can laugh all you want, Uzumaki, but I promise you that this little village will suffer because of your cage. Senji turned on his heel and left without saying anything else, leaving those scary words in the air. Onanami watched as Senji left, then walked up to Uzashio, who was looking tired and rubbing his temples. Having a tough day, he said, and Uzashio looked up and smiled. Yeah, Senji is always making trouble. Uzashio looked down and saw Kushina looking at Uzashio's hat with determination in her eyes. Are you still after this hat? You know I want your job, old man, Uzashio said, and Kushina just smiled back. Onanami said to his daughter, Kushina, show the Gyufukige some respect. Onanami looked at his daughter in a slightly stern way, but Onanami laughed at him. It doesn't bother me at all, Uzashio said to Kushina as he waved her over and smiled. Sometimes when I look in the mirror, I still see a young face staring back at me. I know I'm getting older, but I still feel and look young. He picked Kushina up, put her on his chair, and put the hat on her head. One day, this will be yours, Kushina. Kushina smiled up at Uzashio as she gave him a hug. The door suddenly opened, and a shinobi who was out of breath walked in. Gyufukage. He bowed as he struggled to catch his breath. What's that? Yuzashio watched him with interest as he looked at him with a bit of fear in his eyes. The patrol we sent to Konoha never got there. According to the message Konoha just sent, the messenger said. Onanami looked at the messenger with wide eyes. What do you mean? Yuzashio looked at Onanami while Kushina tried to figure out what was going on and asked, did anyone get to Konoha? Tell me. Yuzashio gently put his hand on Onanami's shoulder to calm him down. Onanami looked at him with tears in his eyes. I'm sorry, but Konoha sent a group to look for them. The messenger took a scroll out of his pocket and gave it to Yuzashio. When Yuzashio opened the scroll, a bunch of bloody headbands fell to the floor. All they found was blood and headbands, Kushina said as she looked at one of the headbands. Daddy, isn't that Mom's? Onanami looked down at a headband that had small charms with the Uzumaki clan symbol hanging from the end. Onanami gently picked up the headband as tears started to fall. Kushina, I want you to go to my dad's house now. Kushina was about to argue, but one look from her father told her that wasn't a good idea. Where is Senji Hidor? Yuzashio asked of the big man. Hidor looked around and saw that Senji wasn't there. She said, I don't know what I look like as his keeper. Shinya, what about you? Shinya just tilted his head and smiled even bigger. Shinya, maybe I saw him, said Onanami as he grabbed Shinya by the neck and kept smiling at him. Onanami growled, stop talking in riddles. Shinya looked at Yuzashio with a hungry look in his eyes. He told me to tell you he warned you. Yuzashio's eyes widened as Shinya ran a sword through his stomach. Now the fall of Uzashigakure begins. The Shinya on the wall suddenly exploded and sent Onanami flying backwards. Shinya looked at Hidor, who grabbed Yuzashio, who fell to the ground just as Kakuheki made a barrier around. What's going on? You are one of us, Hidor yelled, getting more angry. Shinya smiled even wider as the seal on Hidor's chest started to glow. Shinya said this calmly as he swung his sword and sent Hidor through a wall. As Hidor was pulling himself out of the rubble, Shinya said, looks like we need to cut this meeting short. Hidor was about to attack when Shinya turned his sword into a dagger and cut the seal off his chest in an instant. Shinya's eyes widened as Kakuheki waved his hand over the barrier. Suddenly, the barrier broke, and Shinya's blade fell to the ground with a clang. His body kept breaking up along with the barrier. When the doors were blown open, shinobi with different sized kunai could see Kakuheki putting up 3 barriers around Hidor, Onanami, and Yuzashio. They need medical help right away, they shouted. Kakuheki watched as the ninja moved toward the downed shinobi, but in their hurry to help, no one noticed that shinobi's blade had disappeared. Hidor, Kakuheki, and Onanami were standing and watching as Yuzashio woke up. Welcome back, Onanami said to Yuzashio, who looked around confused. What went wrong? All Yuzashio wanted was to see everyone's faces turn sad. Sorry, but Shinya and Shinji betrayed us, Hidor said as she put her hand on Kakuheki's shoulder. He stabbed you with his poison-coated blade, and we were barely able to keep you from dying. Kakuheki looked more tired than usual. He then took Hidor's seal off his chest and shot Onanami so hard that he almost went through a wall. When Yuzashio looked at Kakuheki, he knew what he had done. You did what needed to be done, he said, which only made Kakuheki feel worse. I know, but I wasn't fast enough, he said, which confused Yuzashio. If I weren't so slow, I could have stopped his blade. I could have stopped him from taking Hidor's seal if I had been there. Hidor pulled up his sleeves to show 2 identical seals on his right and left shoulders. I'm fine, kid, he said. The seal on my chest was the main one that gave me most of my strength, but these 2 still give me plenty of strength. Yuzashio tried to get out of bed, but he fell down. So what's going on? He asked. We know that Senji and Shinya couldn't act on their own, Onanami said. So we sent a scout, and we have ships sailing from Kaminari no Kuni. Yuzashio nodded. They're sailing in a way that makes it impossible for us to send a scout to Konoha with a message. So what about a hawk? He just shook his head. We already tried, but as soon as it took off, an arrow shot it down, Yuzashio said with a growl as he raised his head. It looks like war is coming, and Kumagakure is leading the way. So what do? Put everyone who can't fight and some of our ninja on boats and send them in different directions away from the Kumo fleet. We need to make sure that if some of us fall, at least some of us will survive. Everyone looked at Kakuheki in surprise when he said, I'll go with the passengers. As soon as those ships leave, they'll be attacked. I'm the only one who can make barriers strong enough to stop a fleet until we reach land. Yuzashio nodded and looked at Hidor and Onanami. Hidor smiled like an animal when she said, You know I'm staying. Onanami said, I'll stay. But all Yuzashio did was shake his head. You have a child to take care of, Yuzashio said. Onanami was about to argue, but Yuzashio stopped him. There's no question about it, Onanami said with a nod. Alright, start putting people on board. Naruto watched with sadness but felt himself being pulled forward until he was at the docks with everyone on the ships except for Kushina and Onanami. Onanami said, "Alright, time to go Kushina." As he walked up the boardwalk, a kunai was thrown at him and hit him in the shoulder and stomach. "Daddy." Kushina stopped moving and went to Onanami. Onanami grabbed her and threw her at a citizen. "Make sure she gets to Konoha," the man said. Kushina tried to get away from the man, but he held on tight. Suddenly, Kumo Nin appeared behind Onanami. One of them said, "Damn, we didn't make it in time," as he watched Onanami stand up and make a single hand sign. "I'm sorry, but you're dead." All of a sudden, he and his friends couldn't move. Onanami growled, "Fuinjutsu, Jikenteishi," as he turned to the Kumo Nin and saw about 30 of them. "I'm going to kill you all at once," he said. The tags started to light up in a different color. "I'm going to take you to a special place. Fuinjutsu Keikantani." Suddenly, a bright light covered the area behind Onanami. When the light went away, the Kumo Nin were gone, and Onanami fell to the ground, his breathing getting shorter and shorter until he was in someone's shadow. "Look at all the trouble you cause." The voice made Onanami smile because he knew it. "Shut up, Yuyukaken," said Onanami. The man laughed, making his blade jingle on its handle as Onanami closed his eyes. Yuyukaken said to himself, "What do you think? Should we get him out of here?" "Oh, I have no idea what you're thinking." Yuyukaken answered himself with a sly smile as he picked Onanami up and vanished in a swirl of water. The boat that contained Kushina and Kakuheki hit land only to see Senji smiling at him. "Hello, nice day for a boat ride." Kakuheki snarled at Kushina, but took notice that he was the only one who could mold chakra on his boat. "Senji, don't hurt them," Kakuheki told Senji. "I'll come with you if you let them go." Senji raised an eyebrow and told Kakuheki, "I'll come with you if you let them go." Senji rubbed his chin and a thoughtful look in his black eyes. "Deal." Kakuheki dropped to the ground, but no sooner had he done that was he tired up and thrown to the ground. Now what to do with them? "Damn it, you said you wouldn't hurt them." Senji glared at him with a rage in his eyes. "And I won't. But it will be a problem if they go to Konoha and say that Kumigakure and I destroyed Kumigakure." Senji started making hand signs until he got to bird. Everyone on the boat looked out to sea with a dazed expression until their eyes snapped open. "Senji-sama, we don't know who it is, but Uzashigagakure is under attack." A person screamed, which made Senji laugh to himself. "Don't worry, I'll take care of it," Senji said as the boat's door opened. "Now get out of here before they find you." They all nodded and started to run out of the boat, but one person caught Senji's eye. "Kushina." Senji made a move to grab her, but thought better of it. "I can't get her now, but soon I will be able to attack." Senji looked down at Kakuheki, who was staring at him. "Now don't look at me like that. I could have killed them all, but I didn't because I wouldn't have gotten anything out of it." Senji reached down and picked up Kakuheki. He gave one last look at his old village, which was starting to burn. "I have to go plan for the next part of my plan," Senji said with a cruel smile as he vanished in a flash of fire. Uzashio picked himself off the ground just in time to see Hidor fall after getting attacked by 30 different nins. "It's over, Uzashio, everything is gone." Uzashio turned his head to see the E walking towards him with lightning dancing off his body. "I just want to know one thing, Reikage-sama." Uzashio smiled as blood dripped from his mouth. "What is this?" E took a few steps closer and looked at Uzashio. "Why come after us?" "Because you are a strong ally of Konoha and we are at war," E said, pointing to the damage. "This is just a way to get ahead. I don't take enjoyment out of this, believe me, but shinobi respect only one thing, and that is force." This made Uzashio's face smile even bigger. "Then I guess you'll respect the dead after this," he said as seals started to crawl up Uzashio's body. "You didn't forget who we are, did you? Then let me say it. We are Uzumaki, and we never give up, fight until the end, and don't die." "You're a Fuinjutsu," Uzashio said as his last words. Reverse 4 symbols sealing technique. Symbols made of blood shot out of his body and spread until they covered almost the whole island. "Everyone run!" He screamed out as he vanished in a burst of speed. He looked back to see half of the forces he brought with him get concealed behind the black orb before it was all pulled into Uzashio's corpse. "We are Uzumaki. We never give up, we fight until the end, and we never die." "You are right, no one truly dies so long as a single person remembers them, and I'll never forget you, Uzashio." He watched as Uzashio's corpse began to turn into dust and float away in the wind. "Even in death you protect the Uzumaki's secrets." He smiled at that as he motioned for his troops to return to the boat, not noticing the single house that was left untouched by everything. Naruto's eyes opened up as the scroll fell from his head, making everyone look at him. "I saw it." Denpa and Ishiki looked down at Naruto with sadness in their eyes. Ishiki sat down and said, "Yeah, it wasn't pretty." Denpa was spinning a short dagger, which Naruto noticed right away. That's Shinya's dagger. Denpa smiled as he caught the blade in the middle of a spin. Yep. Denpa looked at the blade with a fascinated glance. Tensaku, that is the nickname to this blade. When Shinya got the blade, the name was forgotten a long time ago. Naruto kept looking at the blade that was used to stab Uzushio in the back and asked, "But how did you get it?" "Well, when the owner of this blade dies, the blade looks for a new owner," Denpa said with a soft smile as he put the blade back into his cloak. "But I can't use it the way Shinya did. He spent years finding all the tricks to this blade, and all I've managed to find was that it contracts and retracts at alarming speeds." Naruto nodded his head and then thought about the one person who had saved Aninami. What happened to that Uyukaken guy? This made both Denpa and Ishiki look surprised, and they looked nervously at each other. Ishiki looked at his brother, who just shrugged and said, "It's not that it's bad, but it's just uncomfortable." Naruto held up the scroll and looked at Denpa to find out why he could see more than just Aninami's memory in it. "Well, he put a little bit of everyone's memories in that scroll," Denpa told Naruto with a sad smile. "That's why you saw Uzushio's last moments. Aninami put a seal on him that put his last memories on a scroll for you to see." Naruto just looked at the scroll with sadness in his blue eyes. "Listen, we don't need an answer right away, but we will need one soon," Kakuheki said with a frown as he got off his boulder. "I want to be alone for a while," Naruto said. He got up and walked to a small hill not far from the cabin. Naruto sat down with his knees to his chin with a thoughtful expression on his face. "Dad, Mom, what would you do?" Naruto asked as he slowly closed his eyes to think. "I want to help Uzushiagakure rebuild, but I'm a ninja from Konoha. What do I do?" "Why don't you try doing both?" Naruto recognized the voice from the scroll and turned around to see a man with blue-silver hair with a serpent-like smile and a tattered cloak wrapped around his waist. Uyukaken put his hand over Naruto's mouth so he couldn't say anything else after Uyukaken. Uyukaken smiled at Naruto and said, "SHH. If the others knew I was here, it would only cause trouble." When Naruto nodded his head, he said, "It looks like you should be able to do both." "What are you saying?" Uyukaken just smiled and made a gesture at the small group behind him. "The Achida are fiercely loyal to the Uzumaki clan," Uyukaken said as he sat down and watched the sun slowly go down. "You can be the leader of a village and still be a part of Konoha. Why do you think a group works together? To bring together two villages," Naruto said in a clear voice. "Right, but you need time to rebuild Uzushiagakure." Uyukaken waved his hands in the air as if he were figuring out how long it would take. "Well, you've been training for 3 years, and you have 4 people who can help you rebuild. Then there's Nami, who might be able to help rebuild things. So, I would say that the new Uzushiagakure will be ready at the latest in 3 years and 2 months. Wait, how did you know how long my training lasted?" At this Uyukaken simply smiled. "Sorry, but that's a secret," Uyukaken said. "I'm going now, kid, but don't forget you can call on your allies for help." "Wait, why don't you stay?" Naruto watched as Uyukaken stopped and turned back, looking confused. "Because that would ruin the surprise I have in store for you." With that, Uyukaken disappeared in a swirl of water, leaving Naruto behind with his thoughts. Rebuild Uzushiagakure and stay with Konoha until it is finished. Naruto looked up at the sky. "What do you guys think? I thought you guys would like it," Naruto said with a smile as a gentle breeze blew through his hair. I turned my attention down the hill and walked down it with a big smile on my face. Jiraiya and the others looked up to see Naruto walking down the hill with a smile. "So, what have you decided?" Naruto looked at the others, and they all smiled, knowing what he was going to do. "We need to make a stop at Nami no Kuni." Naruto's smile grew even bigger with thoughts of rebuilding his ancestors' home.
I will continue the story in next part. Till then, we weeb offline.